Hello, Loader aka Mega Blitz. Today's video, we're going to be recapping an online tournament that I had just played in last night, being Gnome's Garden Tournament number 5. Now, I'm still fairly new to playing these online tournaments. It's something I haven't done quite often yet. This is only the second online tournament that I have played in, so let's just jump right into that recap. Alrighty, here we are at that tournament recap. So there was quite a bit of people in this tournament. We had a total of 57 players in this tournament, and I ended up placing first at this is the first time I ever won an online tournament, especially one of this size. Now 57 players isn't super big when you compare it to like regionals or anything like that, but for someone who had just started playing competitively just about a year ago and only playing in their second online tournament, this was a huge accomplishment for me. And of course, the deck I had picked was Iron Thorns EX. Now, for the list here, nothing too crazy going on, just heavy disruption and really trying to kind of skew that prize trade with that Legacy Energy. Now, this list may look very familiar because I had just made a video about Iron Thorns EX, and this was the exact list that I used in that video. So I ran it back on this tournament to take it to a first place victory at Gnome's Garden Tournament number 5. Now, I will say the judge in the tournament were absolutely incredible, very helpful in just all the judge rulings and anything they needed like that was going on throughout the tournament. It was just ran very nicely, I felt. Very timely fashioned. Things were kind of going as planned. And if there was any hiccups, they got just solved very quickly, which I really appreciated. So, record was 7-0-1. Now, let's take a look here at just kind of my pairings going through the tournament. So, round 1, I get paired against Skovalian EX. And now, unfortunately, it didn't get set up. They just kind of had like one Capsule. I was able to donk on that Capsule very quickly. I was able to take the game 1 there. I was able to win round 1. Round 2, I play against Lugia Archeops, which is a very favored matchup for us. It's like 85 win percent or something like that. You're hitting everything for weakness. They can't summoning star. They have to pretty much get into the Flutter Mane, and then not only have the Flutter Mane, but they have to like be able to also get double chops in discard pile and summoning star that same turn while having the Flutter Mane or like a Clef Key up in the active spot, which can be very difficult for this deck to pull off at times. So I was able to win that matchup. Played against Chen Pao Baxcalibur. Now this matchup's actually a little bit on the difficult side. I feel like it's more of a 60-40 kind of favoring Chen Pao. However, I was able to just kind of chase down their Frigibaxes. They only got one Frigi out. The opening turn, I was able to just like boss KO it. They benched another Frigi. I was able to boss KO that while having Lost City out, basically putting them in a position where I've taken 2 Frigis and they're both in the loss zone at this point. So they ended up conceding at that point. So that was round 3. And then round 4, we play against another Lugia Archeops. Now, my original plan was to ID rounds 4 and 5 to give me a record of 3-0-2, which would pretty much put me in guaranteed top 8. But once I saw I was playing Lugia Archeops because it was open deck lists, I decline the ID. I'm going to take this matchup. This is a very solid matchup for me. There's not really a reason to not take this matchup. So take the matchup, pretty much the same thing. It's just a really favored matchup for us, hitting everything for weakness, not really being able to kind of slow me down in any capacity. They couldn't get the Flutter Mane out or anything like that. And then round 5 would have been playing against Raging Bolt Ogerpon. However, we had agreed to just ID that round. Not really any reason to play. We're both kind of sealed in to top 8, whether we win or lose. We both have records of like 4-0 at that point. So we just ID together, and then that was kind of the plan there. Plus, it puts us in a match. It puts us in a kind of a situation where we might end up seeing each other later in the tournament, depending on how well we do. So going into Top Cut. Now, this is the first time I ever made Top Cut at an online tournament, so trying to kind of play that best of 3 was a little bit different for me at first. I didn't really know kind of if you were able to pick going first or second after winning that first round, but in this tournament we were allowed to do that. So Top 8 playing against Skovalian EX again. Now this time they are able to get set up. They're able to start using those attacks on that Skovalian EX, which has some very interesting attacks actually. The second attack was the one that was really kind of making it difficult for me. The two-headed crushing attack, 140 damage for double grass energy. Discard a random card from your opponent's hand, and then discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Now, for those that don't know, Iron Thorns EX doesn't really have a very big hand size most of the time. We're kind of relying on researches when they hit and kind of being able to do things like that, being able to take prize cards, and really just relying on the disruption factor of Iron Thorn's ability and judges and Ionos and things like that. So them discarding cards out of my hand at random made it really difficult for me because they were able to put me in this position where they're discarding things like Crushing Hammers, where I'm like, man, I really wish I would have kept that. Or discarding an energy, where after you Volt Cyclone, you have to move an energy from your Iron Thorns to another one of your benched Pokemon. So you want to try to have another energy lined up to kind of keep attacks rolling. So made it very difficult to be able to keep things rolling with that attack, kind of just discarding my hand. And then, of course, discarding the top card of my deck as well made it very difficult. So that was games 1 and 2. Pretty much kind of went very similar. Just kind of were discarding my hands, had to get a little bit lucky. Game 2 was kind of a little bit more of like just hit Crushing Hammers, and I got really lucky on those. So going into top 4, playing against Gardevoir EX. Now, Gardevoir EX is actually a really hard, tough matchup for Iron Thorns EX. It's a little bit more difficult. They're playing things like Flutter Mane and Klefki, so they're able to shut off that Iron Thorns EX's ability, which opens up for them to be able to use Psychic Embrace and things of that nature. So that was something very difficult to have to overcome, was having these Klefkis and these Flutter Manes kind of just in my face the whole time. Especially with my opponent's list, they were playing double Klefki and 1 copy of Flutter Mane and a Mimikyu in their list. So it made it very difficult to be able to kind of work around double Klefki, Flutter Mane, Mimikyu, and then just the pure raw aggression of like Secret Box and then 2 Technical Machine Evolution. So they're really just kind of like Turbo Gardevoir, really just trying to go fast. And they were playing double Turo Scenario, so they're able to like pick up a Klefki, go into Gardevoir, punch for 190, and then, you know, kind of move things around in that nature, which made it really difficult for me to try to have to manipulate that matchup. But we were able to win game 1, was able to kind of take a KO on a Guardy, and then have a Lost City out, so I was able to put all that stuff in the Lost Zone, and then they couldn't get a second Gardevoir set up in time, and then I skewed the prize trade with Legacy Energy, so when they did take a KO, it put them to 1 prize, and then I just needed boss for game, which I had like 8 cards in my hand, and I had like 2 boss in my hand, so we were just boss for game, had that there, and then unfortunately, we lost game 2. Game 2, they kind of just had everything. I didn't really have a whole lot set up. I think I prized like 2 Iron Thorns EXs, and I couldn't get any energy rolling, and my Energy Loto whiffed, and then the Crushing Hammers weren't hitting anything, so I wasn't able to discard like Darkness Energies off of Monkey Dory or anything like that. So game 3 turned into quite the back and forth. Now we kind of set up, and we flip over, and they have double Klefki, Flutter Mane. They're starting to spread damage counters with that Flutter Mane, that Hex Hurl, and I'm just trying to punch in, and they keep being able to, I couldn't find a Lost City to really put the Flutter Mane into the Lost Zone, so they're able to just Super Rod it, Artisan, put it back, and keep rolling with that Hex Hurl, spreading those damage counters, setting themselves up to be able to use that Gardevoir EX's attack Miracle Force to be able to just punch their way into victory. But thankfully, I was able to kind of top deck a research, which led me into like Legacy Energy, led me into Future Booster Energy Capsules, and led me into Lost City, and a bunch of other tools and pieces that I needed to kind of get myself back into the game. So I was able to get there, and then towards the end of the game, they were trying to dig for Gardevoir EX, and that would have pretty much brought them back into the game. However, they had already played a supporter that turn, so I was in a position where even if they wouldn't have played a supporter, they would have had to be able to boss KO or boss pull up the Iron Thorns EX, Monkey Dory twice to be able to move enough damage counters off of their Pokemon to that Iron Thorns, and then Miracle Force for 190 for KO, because the other one had Legacy Energy on it, and they had to take 2 prize cards. but they ended up playing Iono, so that kind of put them in a position where they couldn't play another supporter, so they had to like dig for Gardevoir and couldn't find it or anything. And then I basically got Iono'd into boss, so I was just like, boss, pull up a Curlia, Iron Thorn, smack it and win. So that was top 4. And then the finals game against that Raging Bolt Ogerpon deck. Now, this matchup's pretty 50-50. I think it's like 55-45, maybe 50-50, somewhere in that neck of the woods. So the nice thing about this matchup is you can shut off those Ogerpon EXs in that Teal Dance ability. However, my opponent was really teched for the Iron Thorns matchup, playing things like Pokemon Catcher and Canceling Cologne and things like that, really trying to just kind of manipulate the board in the way they wanted, and having that Canceling Cologne to be able to use the Teal Dances and the Flip the Script and Squawk and Seize and Conceal cards and things of that nature. But game 1, they really ended up just kind of getting everything they needed when they needed it. They were able to Canceling Cologne and then be able to Teal Dance twice, Conceal cards, Squawk and Seize, Professor Stata's Vitality, and really just kind of have everything set up and ready to go. So unfortunately, we lose game 1. But going into game 2, I get into a position where they start Fezandipity EX, and I'm like, I have literally energy attach back-to-back turns. I'm able to take a 2-shot KO on this Fezandipity. I just need them to not be able to find another Pokemon. So I'm going first. I flip over Iron Thorns. I attach Future Booster Energy Capsule. I attach Double Turbo, and I bench another Iron Thorns, and I say pass. They attach, pass, and I'm like, okay. We go attach Lightning Energy, Energy Loto, find Legacy Energy off of it or something, attack, Volt Cyclone, move it, and then they go attach, pass, and I go, okay, attach, KO, win. So we're in a position where I'm like, okay, we're 1-1. I got pretty lucky that game 2. Let's see if we can make it back on game 3. So game 3, we start over again. They start 2 Teal Dance Ogerpons. One in the active, one on the bench, and I'm like, all right, if they just don't have Canceling Cologne, we're doing okay. So I have a pretty okay starting hand. I have like Arven to be able to find Techno Radar, to be able to get more Iron Thorns EXs. I have Energy Loto. I have Energies in my hand. I have Future Booster Energy Capsule to be able to attach and make things be able to retreat. So I get into a position where I'm able to get pretty much 2 Iron Thorns or 3 Iron Thorns EXs in play, all having Future Booster Energy Capsules on them so I can retreat, so there's no boss stalling or boss manipulation. And they cannot Teal Dance at all, so they're basically just attaching and passing, trying to build up to this Myriad Leaf Shower, and they can't quite get there. So I take a KO on the one Ogerpon, then they put up the other Ogerpon, and I'm able to 2-shot that Ogerpon as well. And by that point, I'm already 4 prizes up. Sure, they benched a Raging Bolt EX, but I'm 4 prizes up in the matchup. I already have 2 Iron Thorn EXs ready to go. You're going to have to really make a comeback. You can't find your Canceling Cologne. Sure, you can Professor Stata's Vitality, put an energy on the Raging Bolt, but then I can just 2-shot that Raging Bolt on top of it. So they basically ended up conceding to me there. And that was how I ended up winning my first online tournament at Gnome's Garden Tournament number 5. And it was really just a surreal experience as I'm kind of overcoming being sick, because I did end up catching COVID just last week. Playing in this tournament, I really wasn't going to, and I didn't really feel kind of up to it at first. And then I was like, you know what? I should play. I should play in this tournament. So I did, and I'm super glad that I did, because I had tons of fun. I was able to pick up a huge win, a big victory for me in this tournament. And the metagame was quite interesting too. We had 8 just kind of different other random decks kind of throughout the whole thing. There was like a Teal Mask, Corner Mask, Control deck, and a couple things like that. We had 7 Charizard Pidgeot decks, 5 Raging Bolt Ogerpon, 5 Regidrogo Box, 5 Iron Thorns, 4 Gardevoir, 3 Turbo Moon, 2 Stall, 2 Chimpao, 2 Goodra Lost Box, which was a deck that I played in my first online tournament, 2 Giratina Lost Box, 2 Lugia, 2 Ancient Box, and then kind of the one-ofs. We have Goldango, Skovalian, Charizard, Roaring Moon, Luxray, Greninja, Dragapult, and Great Tusk Mill. Now, I will say I did get very lucky hitting the only 2 Lugias in the entire tournament. on Iron Thorns EX. That definitely helps out quite a bit, but every tournament, as skillful as you can be, you got to have a little bit of luck. And luck was just on my side, hitting those very nice matches very early on, being able to kind of get that donk early, get round 1. And then I really had to showcase that I knew what I was doing in that top cut matches against the Gardevoir player and in that Raging Bolt Ogerpon matchup. And even that Skull Volume matchup, really just kind of shredding my hand and just kind of going 1-for-1 with me the whole time made it very difficult. But once again, super cool. Huge shout out to, I believe it's Professor Gnome, I believe. They do have a YouTube channel here. So definitely check them out. It was super cool. Had tons of fun playing in this tournament. I definitely cannot wait to go back. But super pumped for that. Ended up winning 15 packs of Shrouded Fable. It says Twilight Masquerade, but I ended up getting 15 packs of Shrouded Fable. So I got to open all those up, which was tons of fun as well. And I'll make sure to put the deck list that I played in this tournament in the description below. So you guys want to try it out for yourself, you'll be able to. I've been really enjoying Iron Thorns EX as a deck. It's tons of fun, and I've really just been kind of honing in on really what the matchups are and what I should be doing in each matchup, and I've really been enjoying the deck. Now, once again, I would definitely recommend you guys to try some of these online tournaments. They are really fun, and it's a great way to kind of just practice and kind of get reps before you go to like regionals or cups or anything like that. So I've really been trying to make time to play in some of these online tournaments, whether they're 200 people, 50 people, 20 people. Just have fun, play in them, and screenshot those victory pages. That was something definitely that I had to make sure that I was reminding myself throughout this tournament, was screenshotting those victory pages. But all my opponents were super delightful to play against. It was GG's, have fun, good luck the rest of the tournament. You know, are you enjoying the deck you're playing? Just great conversations after the games and before, which was really just an incredible experience. So if you guys are enjoying the content I've been making so far on the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!